Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down a section from my book, Linguist, 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to Improve Your Communication Skills. And we're going to be breaking down a particular section, which is 3 ways to be funnier through text. The first thing we want to talk about is why be funny at all? Why not be serious? The reason why is because, and this is scientifically proven by the way, is whenever we make someone laugh, it doesn't matter what we say afterwards. That other person is paying attention. Their attention rate is skyrocketing. This is why if you're a teacher of some sort, you of all people need to be funny. Because if you can get your students to organically laugh, then whatever lecture you're talking about, they're automatically absorbing. So humor has a lot of practical effects. And not only that, human beings are going through a lot of tough times, especially nowadays with uncertainty in regards to certain jobs, complex dynamic relationships, them getting a parking ticket. They got issues. So if you're capable of inserting humor every now and then, it makes them forget about those issues temporarily, feel good, and they will attach those feelings of feeling good to you. Humor is very important, and we're capable of using humor via text. Most people, they're not over here calling on the phones like they once used to. Nowadays, if people are trying to communicate with one another, they're texting. So if we can infuse humor into texting, then our charisma begins to skyrocket. And the first way that we are going to do that is from, let me go back a page. Understanding something very important. Number 1, humans crave informality. This is very important to understand. A stiff person views formality above informality, while a charismatic person views informality above formality. For you to understand the difference between the two, imagine that you're talking to your boss's boss. How are you going to be talking? You're going to be very rigid. You may be wearing a tie. You may be speaking in a certain way where you can't necessarily even recognize yourself. Why? It's because this person has a high status, especially in regards to the company that you work for. This causes you to be very, very formal. Now flip this. Imagine that you're talking to your younger cousin. In this situation, you're over here cracking a lot of jokes, you're being funny, your body language is clearly more relaxed. In this situation, since you're older, you have a higher social value than them in this interaction. So that's the biggest difference. Formal versus informal. The charismatic person uses informal. Now don't undermine how important this is, because whenever your mind doesn't have direction, it begins to automatically act more formal. But once you give it direction, it has clarity. And once it has clarity, that's when it begins to loosen up. So here's the number 1 direction in order to be funnier over text. Your goal of this entire interaction is to go from a formal atmosphere into an informal atmosphere. That is the direction. Second up, as you can tell, this is a paperback version available as well on Amazon. Talk to their child side. Let's go back to our boss's boss. This person that we view in a very adult-like state. How can we view this person in a childlike state? More importantly, what is the childlike state? The childlike state is the center of a human being that never goes away. It can get buried, but it never goes away. This is the side that feels anger, that feels joy, that feels doubt, otherwise known as the emotional side. So this person that's over here with a big office, do you think that this person laughs at certain times? What do you think that they laugh at? Are they an Everybody Loves Raymond kind of guy? Do they have the guilty pleasure of watching South Park? Do they like watching prank videos? You simply asking these questions is allowing you to understand that this person that you view in such a high regard has the child side just like you, just like any other human being out there. For us to be funnier over text, we need to target that side. The more that we target that side, the more that we go from formal into informal. And the third up, this one you may laugh at, but it's highly true. Leverage emojis, GIFs, and memes. Here's why. Imagine that someone texts you, "You're an idiot," and they just leave it at that. Now, since you're reading the text, you don't necessarily understand the tone of the message. You're just like, did this person just call me an idiot? There's disrespect in these texts. Now, imagine a different scenario where you get, "You're an idiot," and there's a laughing emoji. Automatically, the perception changes. Emojis are very similar to tonality. If I'm like, "You're an idiot," versus, "You're an idiot," there's difference in terms of tonality. And with texting, since you don't have tonality to use, you can use emojis. You could use the GIFs, the memes, etc. in order to paint their perception and to make your message funnier than you initially intended it to be. So use the emojis. Leverage the laugh emojis every now and then, but don't overdo it. If you're overdoing it, then you're just going to come off weird. But in doses, it's highly potent, and it's the tonality of texting. So these are 3 different ways on how to be funnier over text. And I do have a bonus tip. The bonus tip is to tweet. Tweeting is pretty much just turning your personality into words. And if you can get in the habit of tweeting, you just build a different relationship with words. Tweeting, it's very little characters. This challenges you to get to the point, not ramble, not be one of these weirdos that's writing big block paragraphs and boring the other person to death, but rather be efficient, be sharp, and be witty in the process. So tweet if you have a Twitter, rather than whining away, tweet away about interesting topics which are very serious, but you're capable of infusing your personality in it. So if you enjoyed today's talk and you want to learn more about different ways in order to improve your offline communication as well as your online communication, be sure to check out my book, Linguist, 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to Improve Your Communication Skills. Most of the stories are roughly around 1,000 words, so you could finish it in one sitting. You will learn more about public speaking, social skills, emotional resilience, and much more. Check out Linguist in the description box, the pinned comment right on below. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.